Hey guys, Scott Adams here again. So another thing that's coming up a lot lately is what are chargeback representments? So a representment is when you present as a merchant evidence to your acquirer that a chargeback should not be allowed. So, many times this is like, say a friendly fraud situation where the consumer is claiming that they did not know about the transaction. Yet they purchased from you 30 times before, or maybe it's a recurring transaction. And so they've had a lot of transactions before this, all the same card. There's a lot of different ways that you can, present more evidence. And, a lot of this evidence can be things like, IP address, a device ID. It could be that they logged in to your system numerous times. Ideally, it's with some kind of secure authentication. Even things like CVV, AVS, your anti-fraud scores, behavioral technology, and IDs around that. The sky's kind of the limit, but there are some specific items you send, but it really depends on your business and your type of transaction and type of product. If it's a physical good, maybe you shipped it. So if you shipped it, do you have a tracking number or proof of delivery? And so you want to optimize this, and you optimize it around your business, also around even down to the bin level. So there's a lot of things you can do. Now the problem is that many merchants outsource these, and in doing that, they're basically trusting this other company to gather that data and to tell the true story to win. And you want to be really careful about this, though. And I've been having a lot of questions on this as well, because you can tell the story to win and not be truthful necessarily, or you can actually tell the truth. And additionally, if you outsource it, a lot of times the company is paid by the representment or just by the chargeback, and so they don't really have a reason to win. They just have reason to represent, and you don't want to represent everything. Right? The better course of action is to think about representing just the ones that make sense, the ones that really should not be chargebacks. That's where I go back to saying mostly around friendly fraud. You don't want to represent ones that it's obviously fraud. Maybe your fraud system wasn't working, or maybe you made an error. Right? That's legitimate use for a chargeback. So you don't represent that. But it's more whenever the transaction is one that you're sure was authorized, you're sure it was the right person. That person's had a history with you. Those ones make sense. And like I said in the write-up around this, this industry around representment is kind of shaded in darkness because there's a lot of tricks. And the more you deal in this industry and just with fraud and risk, you hear about things that merchants do, or representment companies or other companies might do to try to win a representment or to lower their chargeback rates, and all these things. But more and more, those things are being caught. Banks are catching it, or even the government. And so we want to make sure that we always do these things right. Take the high road and play by the rules. And so, the question I've gotten often too is, should you represent? So here's the problem of representing. If you're representing because you want to get out of chargeback trouble, it's not going to help you that fast. It's a good thing to do, and you should. But the problem with representment is that it still counts against you. And so when you have, the Visa and MasterCard monitoring programs, it doesn't matter if you win a representment. That number still counts. And luckily, there's new tools coming out that we've been talking about, like Visa CE3, that's pre-chargeback. And so these things will help a lot. So tomorrow we're going to talk more about representment and other tools that you can use to lower chargebacks and recoup that revenue. And also talk a little bit more about how to know is your representment company playing by the rules. Are they above board? Are they doing things right? Or are they taking shortcuts or doing things they shouldn't be doing just to win? All right. Thanks a lot. Hope that helps.